Now, a law firm says workers are taking an average of 4 mental health days a year, but lie about it to their boss out of fear of being judged, demoted, or sacked. Slater and Gordon shows over half of employees who took mental health days faked a physical illness to explain their absence, and 14% of those who were honest were told by their boss to man up. 22-year-old Sam Barakat's from Finchley. He works in catering and he joins me now. Good morning to you, Sam.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you very much for coming on and talking about this morning. What's the most common reason you give when you call in sick, Sam?
So I don't call in sick a lot, but it is the fact that sometimes when you are having a bad mental health day, you just do not have the energy to get into work. But it's something that a lot of people do not understand.
Yeah, so that's the thing, isn't it? So when you are not feeling too good that day and you don't want to go into work because you're not feeling great, when you pick up the phone, what do you say to your boss? That's the difficulty of it, isn't it? And how do you get through that?
So for me, I've had to lie and just say imply that I have food poisoning, but I try not to make it obvious that I'm lying. But I've even had a manager, when I did this, say word for word, unless you have food poisoning, you have to come into work. There's no other illness that can excuse you from work aside from food poisoning.
Well, that's not
and it
true.
just shows that there's so much that's not understood in the workplace.
And it's unbelievable that someone said that to you. So your excuse will always be food poisoning because that's the only route that you've got where you worked.
With that specific manager, exactly, yes. And that is a big problem because it disregards all other physical health, but especially mental health.
Have you ever tried to say that you're having I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? If we all start to say we're having a mental health day, I need a mental health day, then maybe that would be better and everyone would be able to understand it.
I do feel there is more talking that needs to be done around it. The issue is with my management is that they know about some of them know that I have lived experience of mental illness, but they also know that I do work in the mental health field. And mental health is something that's not spoken about in a good way in my workplace. Customers' mental health and colleagues' mental health is spoken about in a very derogatory way. So it's just something that people will joke about as opposed to taking seriously.
Oh, that's just really bad. And what do you think should be done then? What can be done to improve it?
I would say more education is needed. So there is campaigns at the moment to bring mental health training into the workplace. But it is also the fact of we as a society need to have a shift in how we look at mental health and what mental health and mental illness are.
Yes. And I suppose explaining it to your... The difficulty is explaining it to your boss on the phone. It's difficult anyway, explaining if you're sick anyway, isn't it? Because you don't really want to take the time off and you just want to go, oh, no. And it's difficult anyway. So how would you expect... Have you worked out a way of trying to explain it to the boss?
Well, sadly, my current management, I had a conversation about mental health because a lot of the issues in my work affect my mental health in a bad way. And they're just not understanding of it. And I had one manager, like you mentioned a minute ago, literally say, basically, to man up. The cure to depression is to man up.
Oh,
that seems to be the point.
Oh, for goodness sake. Look, let's speak to Peter Lyons. He is employers liability lawyer at Slater and Gordon. Hello to you, Peter.
Morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
I mean, this is obviously... Yeah, thanks for coming on. I mean, this is I suspect, quite common, is it?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. And it's very sad to see that very regularly I come across people who injure themselves as a result of not being able to deal adequately with the mental health problems for feeling that they cannot speak up. Most people tend to hide it away and not tell their employers how they're feeling.
What is the legals around this? I mean, what can people say when they phone up their boss, and what can they do if they are told to man up or something else?
Well, the law around sort of this area is sort of very, very complex. What people should do, in my view, is firstly, don't be isolated. Tell your partner, your loved ones about the problems that you're going through. If you feel comfortable, speak to your manager. If you're not comfortable speaking to your manager, then speak to your trade union representative. If you don't have a trade union representative, and you can't speak to your manager, speak to a trusted colleague at work. If you can't speak to a trusted colleague, if there's nobody there, if you're completely isolated at work, then speak to a solicitor or Citizens Advice Bureau, get advice, but also if it's really troubling your health, then get medical advice, make an appointment with your GP, but just don't be isolated.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good advice, isn't it? So the end result of that, if you can't speak to anyone, like Sam said there, it would be a solicitor or Citizens Advice Bureau.
Yeah, ultimately. That's if you want legal redress, but it's better to try and find practical solutions.
And Sam, did you try that? Did you try going to someone like the Citizens Advice Bureau or solicitor?
So for me, I've only been in the job about 8 months, and I'm looking to change jobs anyway.
Right.
So it's not something that I would have gone down. But one of the occasions was many years ago, and at the time I didn't even know what the Citizen Advice Bureau was, because it was my first job.
Yeah.
So it's the fact that there isn't enough information there as to what you can do.
Well, Sam, I hope you get a job where you've got people there, loving people who want to take care of their employees. That's what we need, don't we, Peter? And are there any cases where people have taken this to court or taken this to tribunal?
In what respect? There's plenty of occupational stress claims that's gone to court. Work in a department that deals with nothing else apart from occupational stress teams.
So the more we talk about it, the more people know about it, then the better it is for everyone. That's really what the message is of this, I think. Thank you so much, Peter Lyons, employers liability lawyer at Slater and Gordon. Sam Barakat as well from Finchley, works in catering. Thanks very much.